Welcome to the Wellnest Mamas podcast. We are committed to leading a sustainable lifestyle and making community connections. In a world where stress and chaos seem to be the norm, finding balance and fostering a sense of true well-being is essential.
Whether you are just beginning your holistic wellness journey or are already deeply dedicated to the practice, this podcast is for you. Join the Wellnest Mamas as we uncover the secrets to holistic wellness and discover the power of building a healthy community that supports and uplifts one another.
Sit back, relax, and get ready to embark on a transformative journey to leading a sustainably healthy lifestyle. We're glad you're here.
Welcome to the Wellnest Mamas podcast. I'm Steph.
I'm Caitlin, and we're here with Lizzie.
Hi.
Lizzie.
I'm Lizzie.
Lizzie, I'm so excited to talk with you today. You are just have so much information that I think is going to be fantastic to share with the community. Tell us a little bit about your background, your journey, like where it all began. I know you said you were a nurse, you're a teacher, you figured out that they're all tied together. Can you tell us more about that?
So yes, I started out in nursing and wanted to save the world like we all do, one person at a time. That was my goal. And I worked in trauma for a little bit, and I was providing tools for the trauma victims to get back on their feet and find their highest health. But then I started seeing repeat customers come back, and I was like, I don't feel like I'm doing anything in this realm. So I moved on to pediatrics and got into management, and that was a challenge because I wasn't with kids. I was working with adults who should already have their stuff together and don't.
Didn't.
And then I got pregnant and we moved, and I was like, okay, well, I'll start over. I'll do something different. And once I had my baby, I mean, who wants to go back to work when you want to just stay with this baby? And there was an opportunity at the local Montessori school here for an assistant. And I was like, my child can go there. I can go there. I can go nurse whenever I need to. And so I became an assistant and then fell in love with the theory and philosophy of Montessori and went back to get my master's in education with a Montessori certificate. And was in there for like a decade, watched my kids grow up in it, and realized that planting seeds in these little child's subconscious so they can pull them out later was almost the same thing as handing tools over to an adult in the trauma setting. It's just education. So I realized that I feel like a facilitator. Like I have these tools and I'm putting them on my belt, and when I see people, I'm like, here, you could use this, here, you could use that, like you want that? Yes. But the facilitator word is I feel it's very sterile. Like I haven't found a good word yet, so if you have a word, that'd be great. But then COVID came, and it kind of reset everything because we all had to stay home. And then I saw my kids, and I saw how much time I had with them, and I didn't want to give that up. And even though I was saving the world one child at a time now, I was like, I just want to hang out with my kids. Mm-hmm. So I stopped the education. I veered off that path and wanted to do more for myself, and found yoga and Reiki randomly. I was like, I want to do something health-wise. I want to get my physical body back, and they had a yoga immersion, so I took that certification. And then I was like, and then they happened to have a Reiki school up in Bella Vista, which I've been looking for Reiki for a while because I heard about it, and it was like elusive. I could never find a class. And then randomly in Bella Vista, there's one there. And I was like, okay. So I took it, and it opened up the world to a whole new realm of like energy healing and all this stuff. And then they started, after COVID and everybody went back to work, I was like, I don't want to go back to work. Sorry, Santosh. I don't want to do it. I don't want to go back. So I tried to find my own path, and I started teaching yoga and doing Reiki clients. And then our oldest daughter graduated from Montessori, and she had to step into a different education system. And that was hard because Montessori it's a freedom within limits. Like there is a 3-year curriculum that is there. You can't see it. The teacher knows it, and they know where the kid is on the shelves and in the lessons. But the kid picks everything, and they go with their own passions. And then when you get to we went to the local public school. We tried all the other schools. She didn't really like any of them. And so we went to local public school, and it was a completely opposite thing, not a bad thing. It's just not what she grew up doing. Now it was teacher-led, not her passion-led. And it was, and we always say, give 6 to 8 weeks, 6 to 12 weeks of transition time, then they'll figure it out. I mean, I didn't wait the 12 weeks like I should have. I pulled her way early because I saw...
Sometimes intuition time is...
It is.
Much better
Yes.
than
I saw the light dwindling. I mean, there was a lot of nights of crying and homework and this and that, which she had never had before. She loved what she did. So I was like, okay, there's got to be another option. And at the time, my friend was staying with me from Canada, and she's like, have you thought about unschooling? I'm like they don't learn? And she's like, no, it's a thing. Like, it's like homeschool, but they go on their own path. And I was like, will they have a future? Like, I'm how does this work? And she's like, you need to read this book. So I read a book, and it was Unschooling to, what is it? Unschooling to, I brought it with me. It's right here. Unschooling to University. And I was like, okay. So I read the whole thing, and I was like, oh my gosh, this sounds like what I've already been doing. Like, with the young age Montessori, we're bringing the world into the classroom. And then when they get older and they move into the adolescent realm, they move into the world with a facilitator, with somebody who takes them around and finds the outlet for how to create a business or how to woodwork or whatever. And then they do community projects so they learn how to volunteer and be part of the world. I was like, I have time. Why don't I just be the facilitator for my own kids? I mean, I'm not certified in adolescent Montessori, but I kind of get the gist of what's next.
Sure, yeah.
So that's what we did. And it has been amazing. And so much time devoted to finding the resources, because where we live, the resources are abundant. I mean, have you been to the Fayetteville Library yet?
Oh my gosh, it is mecca of all libraries. I went in there for the first time to do a podcasting thing, and they have an entire teaching kitchen. They have a podcasting studio. They have so many resources. It is a really cool place. If you haven't been, go check it out. It's worth it.
I mean, they have the makers lab there. So she wanted to make something for her gymnastics coach, her tumbling coach, and she developed something because they said you have to use Inkspace or Adobe or something. I don't know this stuff. We went in, the people were there to help her. She'd already created on her own. I don't know how she figured this out with the computer. I truly don't. We go in and they're like, yeah, you just do this, this, and this, and then send it to the cutter thing, and it's a laser wood cutter. Cut it out, and if you ever want to do the 3D printing stuff there, you just have to buy your own plastic stuff. I'm like, and it's free. It's free? And they're like, yeah, anytime, we're here, we'll help you. I was like, what?
That's amazing.
What? It's amazing. And they have a what is a flight simulator?
No way.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's so cool.
So many amazing things. So we're enjoying that right now. And that's I'm following her, but then realizing that it's giving me time to also follow my own passions too.
So you've developed this philosophy of child-led learning, and how have you been able to bring that to find your own way in this world? Tell me more about what you represent and what you're putting out for the world.
Well, at first I was worried that the girls are going to look at me, and because I have 2 daughters, they're going to look at me and be like, what does mom do? She's just taking care of us. But then I there's more to life than just work, so imparting that to them of if I wasn't here with you guys, you would be at school 8 hours a day, and we would only see each other in the evenings. We're doing bigger things than you realize. You won't realize this till later. And I just lost my train of thought.
We were talking about your philosophy.
Yes. When I started figuring out yoga and Reiki and everything, I was trying to figure out what's next step. Should I get back into nursing? Because my kids are old enough now that with the unschooling, they are pretty self-motivated. Since they had the Montessori upbringing, they are self-directed. They know what to choose. I just need to find the tutors for them to get them, doing it. And they're able to stay by themselves. I mean, when I grew up in the 80s. Like, I was a latchkey kid, and my parents left us alone when we were younger. I mean, they're all 13 and 11. They're capable. Yeah. So I could have a part-time job if I wanted to. And so it's finding, like, what does that look like? Should I get back into nursing? Should I start my own thing? Should I, whatever? And it happened that one of my friends, she led a meditation group weekly that I went to. Like, I was devoted to that day. You could not tear me away from meditation. And then her life changed, and she chose a different path for something. And I was like, no, you can't leave me. I need you. And she's like, I have this thing. You should come to this thing. It's called the Artist Way. We should do it together. And I'm like, okay, so I didn't know what it was. It was expensive, but I was like, I gotta figure myself out. I don't know what I'm doing next. And maybe when I figure it out, this will bring some more money in so we can, like, make it work at home. Sandra was like, okay, go, just do it, find yourself. So I went, and there was a lot of people, and it was very overwhelming at first and very structured. And then people started dropping out because it is structured, and it is a time commitment, and it is like a lot of self-discovery that, do you want to do that? Do you want to open those doors and wonder what's making you think the way you think? Like, that's vulnerable and like scary. But it can also be exciting. And going through that, it made me realize that it's okay to wonder. It's okay to keep meandering the path until something jumps out. And in that process, I had been toying with, like, I had ideas. Let me back up here. I met a friend during COVID, and during that time there was a lot of political upheaval, and her and I had completely opposite views at that time, and that could have ended our relationship, but instead she was like, tell me why you think this way. And it opened up a doorway for us to talk and understand each other on a deeper level. And we both said, I wish more people would do this. And we came to the idea of, like, let's write a book to help people open up conversation. And I was like, can we do that? And during the Artist Way, it was like, get rid of your blocks. Like, do something you've always wanted to do. Why are you holding yourself back? All this stuff. And I was like, I have these ideas, and I have these people, like, let's do this. And so it was, and I'm also one of those people of, like, if it doesn't work out, or if there's blocks in my way, then the universe is telling me it must not be meant to be. And there were a lot of blocks, a lot of, like, oh, the formatting's not right, or the pages are wrong, or there's a misspelling. And I'm like, oh my God, is this ever going to be published? And then we finally, like I kept pushing at it. I'm like, but this needs to get out there. It needs to get out there. Maybe it's not time now. Maybe it will be time. And finally our artist, like, fixed it in such a way that it went in, it's like accepted. I was like, accepted? It's accepted? They said it'll be published on this day and you can start buying your author copies. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, it happened. Like, I'm a published author. Like, amazing. And that was one of those things of, like, I would not have pushed myself if I didn't, be open to the fact that there are other avenues than what I'm told I should be doing and where we should be going. And yeah. Wow. So it's been a ride.
Oh my gosh. I remember when I first met you, you had just had the book printed, and you were so excited about it, and I was like, this is so cool. I love, my middle child, he did Montessori method for his, like, preschool days, and then when we moved here, we took him to the public preschool, and all the teachers were like, we can tell he's a Montessori kid, because he was going to do what he wanted to do. And it didn't matter that you were trying to teach something. He was busy over here.
I'm following my own passion.
But I also started the Artist's Way this past week at your encouragement because of how much it impacted you. I was like, well, I need to try this. This is really cool.
That's cool.
And so to hear, I didn't realize that the book was a product of that, and that is really, really exciting. You must be so proud.
It was amazing, and the whole trajectory was, like, all tied into one. Mm-hmm. And being able to pull back those layers of what society has told us to do, or what we as women should do, or what we as mothers should do, or what our parents think we should turn out like. Pulling back those layers and realizing this is what I want to do. Mm-hmm.
your truth, your authenticity without all the noise.
Yes.
The noise.
The noise, yes. And it like, when you start going down that path, it is scary because you're like, what if I fail or fail myself or fail others? You know, I have kids to support. Yes, my husband is making money. We can make it work, but like, I should also be supporting. So if I'm doing all this, is it selfish? Like, I'm living my life, why can't he live his dream too? Well, he'll get to eventually, maybe, once I make money, you know? Like, I don't know, it's interesting and a challenge, but so exciting, because when you start dreaming and start living towards your passion, you put more into it because you're excited about it. Like, if you're just doing a job, you're like, oh, yeah, I'm just making the money to make the money. And then you come home like drained, you don't want to talk to your kids, you just want to go hide out for a little bit. But when you're doing your passion, like, you want to involve your kids with you. Like, I take my kids to yoga. I'm like, this is what I'm doing. You gotta learn it too. Let's go.
I love doing yoga class with them. They're so fun.
They love it. Yeah.
I wish I would have done yoga as a child. My mom started doing yoga regularly after she retired, and I was like, why did we wait so long to get into this?
Yeah.
So what are you doing? Who's the book intended for? Like, who should read it?
It is. So at first, my mindset was still stuck in Montessori because I had just bumped out of it. And so I was thinking parent-child relationship. How do we get more connected? How do we understand them better? How do we talk to them? Like, not only that, Montessori, the way, I don't know how to say this, like, I would be a different parent if I didn't have my kids in that program, you know, because we use what we know. And, you know, how my parents raised me, I feel like I was raised great. But there are other things that, like, we could make a little bit better, you know, with more communication, more time spent together and stuff like that. So the book in my realm, in my head, was for parent-child relationship or adult-child. Not necessarily, I mean, there's people who are raising kids that are, you know, it could be their grandchild or their stepchildren, you know, so adult-child relationships. And then my co-author was like, this could be for everyone, like adult. And I was like, oh, yeah, because we started this and we're both adults. That does make sense. So yeah, it's for everyone. And they're tiny stories. They're like a paragraph. And then after the paragraph is this whole questionnaire of like, how do you feel about that? Or what would have you said in that situation? Or have you ever thought about engaging in your community this way? Do you know the people at your library? So it's making people like, how involved am I? Do I know my neighbors? Did I talk to my kid like that? Like, just interesting little things that make you like step back and be like, oh.
I think that's important because I feel like, at least in kind of our realm of life, you know, everybody has their different realms. Everybody talks about connecting and everybody talks about being authentic and breaking free from all of the noise. But there's not really a guide. It's really kind of like stumble through and figure it out. But like, it sounds like the book would be so good as like how to actually do that stuff, which is, you know, like trips, and it's not trips like people. It's not like a full-blown overhaul.
You know, it's not saying, here's how you do it.
Right. Yeah.
It's asking questions so that you find your own.
But it's like an organic.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So I know you have a book study coming up. Do you want to tell people about it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, oh my gosh.
Do you have the book with you? No?
I do. It's over there.
Okay.
April 21st, I believe, from 1 to 3 is that's what it is. It's a book discussion and study. For the title of the book is Ripples and Seeds. And I liked that because I feel like we are all planting seeds with each other that grow at a later time if we water them. And ripples, like when you talk, or just like in the water, if you touch it, it goes When you talk to me, I'm like, oh my gosh, I never thought about that. And I need to tell this person because that resonates with them. You know, it's both those words together just made so much sense to me. So we're just going to sit down and read some of the paragraphs and then ask each other questions and open up conversation. And I'm also a trainer for the state of Arkansas for teachers. And so I added on the professional development registry so that teachers can get continuing education units through it. So.
Listen up, teachers. You can get some continuing ed here.
For a fun class.
Yes, and actually do some real learning.
Because I remember doing PDR classes, and there are some really great ones out there, but then there's also some really like tedious of like, I have to do this just to get my CEUs.
Right. This one will be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
And you have another one?
I have another one too, yes. So in Montessori, I used to try to do yoga all the time with the kids because it's a movement activity, because kids have so much movement anyways, and it also helps them regulate and calm themselves because you work through breathing exercises and guided meditation. And when I first popped out of Montessori, I had compassion fatigue, and I was like, I am never working with children again. And then the owner of the yoga studio that I'm at, she was like, do you want to do the kids yoga program? And I'm like, sure. It'll be fun. And it was so fun. We didn't get a lot of people like engaged in it, but it opened up a different way to like develop a curriculum around just that. And you could really emphasize movement and breathing and meditation. And she was so excited about it and shared so much information with me. I'm like, this is awesome. And more teachers could benefit from this. Like, it needs to be in classrooms. But I was still so new to yoga that I could not wrap my head around doing a workshop. I don't know enough. Like, I don't have enough knowledge. I can't impart this. But like after teaching classes and realizing that I am an educator at heart, if I just talk, like everybody's an educator. You talk, other people are learning from you, you know? So I was like, and I can offer something for the teachers that they have to do anyways. Why not make it fun? So in April as well, I have a 4-week course on yoga, bringing yoga into the classroom. And so you'll join my vinyasa class on Tuesday evenings and learn how to do yoga for yourself. And then after that, we get together and develop little tricks and tips of how to engage students in yoga and all ages. And it should be fun. And by the end, you'll have your own little curriculum you can take back into your class that you've developed from what you've learned. So, and that's 8 CEUs. That's a good amount.
Even better. Yeah. Wow, what an incredible resource for the community, for teachers, for just anybody. Probably homeschool parents too would probably love to learn how to incorporate yoga. Plus, you get to do a class too. That's really neat.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yes.
So tell me, so I love seeing you share your gifts with the community. I am so happy to be able to, tell everybody about the amazing things that you're doing. Is there anything else that you want to share with the community about what you're up to and how they can reach you and work with you?
Well, I have, I developed my own website off of talking to one of the gals you connected me with, I did a trade with Reiki and photography, and she was like, you should just do a website. I'm like, you just do a website? Like, it sounds so challenging. No, but then I got on Squarespace and I just fiddled around with it. And so I created my own website, and it's called ReikiWithLizzie.com, and it has all the different events that we're doing and how you can get with me. And I've realized that it's not just Reiki. Like, I had somebody who reached out to me because they were stressed. They were just stressed beyond all reason, and affecting health and all this stuff. And it tried everything else. And I was like, well, we can put together like a combination of things. We can do some Reiki, we can do some Yoga Nidra, which is like guided meditation. We can do some movement and just make your own plan of care. And it worked, and she loved it. And I was like, okay. So I have more tools than I realize. So yeah, just putting myself out there. Can I say the studios I work for?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I didn't know if I was holding back the name.
Like, come find us.
Yeah, so I do Reiki and yoga at Be Well Yoga in Pinnacle Hills and Rogers. And then some Reiki at Sacred Space Studio in downtown Rogers. And I'm also pairing with them to do some magical classes. We host a monthly Oracle gathering there. And we started in December, where we pulled Oracle cards that represented the months of the year. And then we're getting together monthly to see if that card actually dictated what happens. Like oracle cards themselves are not scary. It is our intuition talking to ourselves. So, you know, it's interesting to look back and be like, my card said this, but that was not what happened this month, and figure out what actually does happen. So it's just a community of people who want to get together, and it's open to anybody every month to do that, the first Monday of every month at Sacred Space. And then soon we're going to be doing workshops on how to develop your intuitive abilities, so which I'm very excited about because I love all things magical. So I'm working with them, and then I have my own space in Bentonville that I call the Mystic Manor, and it's basically my parlor that has been turned into a Reiki studio.
It's really cool. I've been there.
Yes, she has.
It's a really cool space.
It's a fun space. So.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Lizzie. Is there anything else you want to share with us? Maybe a little tip, maybe a little Eve or virtual Reiki. Could we do any, like, is that a thing? Can you do that?
I'd have to activate it first.
Okay.
But I could send some distance Reiki and like
that'd be cool
to everybody.
Yeah. All right, guys, you ready?
Okay, so let me activate it first. Hold on. So there's a mantra that we learned, and it goes: anger not, accept; worry not, accept; be grateful, be kind, and always do your best. And then I also say, thank you for allowing me to be a vessel for this energy to flow through and touch anybody that needs it today. So, yeah. Enjoy.
Thank you. Great. That was awesome.
That was so good. Yes,
That was
so
so
good.
awesome.